I mean, that's a disaster. Tom Aspinall still can't see. He's got a fucked up right eyeball still.
It's really bad, right?
The reality is he might not ever fight again. Like, who knows? Like, if he has surgery on his eye and it doesn't go well and he can't see out of the eye, apparently he's still fucked up in his right eye. There's some tendon damage or something. And, eyes are so tricky, you never know. Unless you're a fucking complete psychopath like Michael Bisping, who fought 11 fights in the UFC blind in one eye, which is so crazy that he did that.
And because I had about 5 or 6 eye surgeries, I do know a little bit about this. So real quick, let's talk about this. Tom's going to need, apparently, eye surgery. It'll probably just be a minor thing, like a realignment of the tendon, but things can go wrong. Joe is absolutely correct, 100% when he says that things can go wrong. My retina was reattached after it was detached against Vitor Belfort, and then it redetached, and then they fixed it again. And then I got glaucoma, because once you start messing around with the eyes, in fact, just like any part of your body, once you start going in and messing around with it, it's never the same again. It's never quite as strong, and things can go wrong. Now, medical science has improved, thank God. I remember back in the day, my coach, Jason Perillo, he got a detached retina. He was an undefeated professional boxer with bags of talent, detached his retina. That was the end of his career. Fortunately, in my career, it was saved by, well, it wasn't saved by medical science. They did their best, but ultimately I did go blind. But for Tom, fingers crossed, he'll be okay, right? Now, everyone that's come out of the woodwork, and if you just look at the comments of that tweet from Joe Rogan, that little clip, my God, there's some people out there, they don't know what they're talking about, man. This is the heavyweight champion of the world. He's not a duck. He's not trying to get out of a fight. He wants to come back and kick Cyril Gane's ass. He put that in a tweet recently. The man's pissed off and I can't wait for the comeback. However, and this is the big however, will he need surgery? Has he had surgery? Does he need surgery? Will he need another surgery? Will there be complications? The one thing you can't do with an eye is rush back. That is the one big lesson that I learned, because I did that. I rushed back too soon. I rushed back to sparring. I rushed back to competition, right? And I never saw that eye again. So Tom has got to take his time. And if he's having surgery, he's definitely going to be out for at least a few months.
Do you think he did it on purpose?
I think that I've never accidentally done something in a fight. I don't see how you can, really. So I will leave it at that.
What do you think? Because something needs to change, right? Because this has been a hot topic. From what happened to you being the heavyweight champion, obviously the week after we had something in Ante's fight. We had one last week as well. Last week, actually, we saw something quite positive where Herb Dean immediately takes a point from.
Oh, did we? I missed that. What happened with that,
in the Kennedy, I'm poor with the pronunciation of his surname, but in Kennedy, in Chekwidu's fight, there was an eye poke in there. There was the right protocol took place, and then once the fighter then decided, yes, I can continue after the 5 minutes out, Herb stopped the scenario and he said, right, point deduction.
straight away.
Straight away.
Right.
All right. Now, it would have been interesting if he couldn't continue as to whether that would have then gone on to become a disqualification or how they would have dealt with it in that moment. But something needs to happen, doesn't it? Something needs to happen going forward where attitudes change towards fouls. And I'm not just talking eye pokes, I'm talking fouls in general that are not part of the rule set of the sport.
Yeah, I'm still under the notion, like, if someone's fouling, to do it once, you can be deemed it as an accident. If they do it twice, plus, the other person's allowed a foul as well. I love that idea.
What a freebie.
Yeah, freebie. Right, we're fighting. You kick me in the nuts once. The ref gives you 5 minutes, whatever, to recover, however long they give you. We restart, you do it again. The ref says, right, Adam, you stand there, open your legs. You get.
Last one from me. Tom Aspinall did interviews recently saying that his eye is not better. He was a little bit disappointed with some comments you made. Have you spoke to Tom? Do you know anything about that? And what's your reaction to what he said?
I have not. Yeah, I mean, I get it. I don't remember exactly what I said. What did I say? That is.
Just said you think that.
I think his eyes are okay. Yeah.
Since no more pay-per-view, David with MMA in Myanmar.
Hold on, sir. I'm still talking to this guy.
Sorry, my bad.
Here's the thing. So obviously, and I know Tom said, you know, I haven't even talked to him and all that stuff, but we have people all over him right now, you know, checking up on him, making sure he's good. Does he need any help or, you know, any specialists? Yeah, I'm no doctor. I'm just saying what I've heard. And that was in no way, you know, it wasn't said in a way that they're like, oh, what do you think? I said, I think he's fine. Or it wasn't like that. I said, I think Tom's eyes are good. He's going to take some time, heal, come back to, you know, that's all I said. I wasn't saying anything negative toward him. You know, and I think that things can be taken out of context, or he didn't see what I said, because I don't even remember what the fuck I said. But never once did I say anything negative about him or, you know, in a derogatory way. You know, I'm sure he's upset and fired up, and, you know, he'll get better, and we'll get him back in there.
What was supposed to be a statement win turned into a talking point overnight. Tom Aspinall versus Cyril Gane ended fast, but the eye pokes that came before it stole just as much attention as the finish itself. Now Tom is giving his side of the story, and experts are breaking down what actually happened and whether it had any real impact on Tom's future.
Has there been thoughts of whether you'd be able to fight again?
I'm just thinking about my health at the minute, to be honest. I'm not even thinking about any of that stuff, because you got to like take one step at a time, don't you?
Yeah.
You can't be doing that. Obviously, the plan is to go back and beat the living daylights out of Cyril Gane. That's the plan. But right now, the short-term plan is to get back to where I should be, get back in the gym.
And Joe Rogan has raised serious concerns about Tom Aspinall's future, suggesting the eye damage could be career-altering. If surgery doesn't restore his vision, a return to elite competition may not be possible, especially with his right eye still causing problems. Fighting at this level with compromised vision is brutal, and only a rare few have ever managed to do it.
I mean, that's a disaster. Tom Aspinall still can't see. He's got a fucked up right eyeball still.
It's really bad, right?
The reality is he might not ever fight again. Like, who knows? Like, if he has surgery on his eye and it doesn't go well and he can't see out of the eye, apparently he's still fucked up in his right eye. There's some tendon damage or something. And, you know, eyes are so tricky, you never know. Unless you're a fucking complete psychopath like Michael Bisping, who fought 11 fights in the UFC blind in one eye, which is so crazy that he did that.
Then Tom Aspinall has shared an honest update on his condition, revealing ongoing vision problems after the eye pokes. Surgery is now locked in, with one eye being treated first and the other to follow shortly after. It's not something he wanted to keep revisiting, but his recovery and what comes next hinges on how his eyesight responds.
We'll start with the ramifications, what happened after Abu Dhabi. And that, as you announced on social media this week, mate, you're having to go into surgery in the next week or so. First and foremost, talk to me about the consequences of it in real terms, the layman terms of after the eye poke, you come on, what are you dealing with?
Well, I'm at the point, mate, where I'm like, I don't just want to keep banging on about it, but I'm also aware that we do have to talk about it, so I'll address it. Just not being able to see properly, mainly. So that's going to be sorted. Well, the first eye is going to be sorted next week. We're going to have surgery on that next week. The second one's going to be done mid.
He went into more detail about what he's actually seeing, and it's more serious than it might sound. He's dealing with constant double vision, not total blindness, but it's enough to disrupt everyday life, and of course, fighting at an elite level. The plan with the upcoming surgeries is to correct the double vision and get his eyesight back to normal. The worst eye is being treated first, followed by the second, with separate procedures carefully scheduled to give him the best chance at a full recovery. How his vision responds will likely decide if and when he can step back into the cage.
Way through January, so.
When you say you can't see properly, describe it so people can understand it.
Well,
Is it like double vision?
Double
Is
vision.
it
Double vision. Yeah, double vision.
it's just constant?
I'm not blind.
I know that. I know you can see. me.
I'm not going to pull Stevie Wonder, mate. I think my eyes fully poked out, but yeah, just double vision, mainly.
And what does, hopefully, the surgery do? Does that correct that?
Well, I'm not an eye doctor, so I wouldn't want to break it down and then someone say, oh, this is wrong, that's wrong. But yeah, originally the plan is to get the double vision gone and get my vision back properly. That's the plan. So that's what they're doing.
Okay. And you've got one next week.
One
You've got one pre-Christmas.
Yes, and one post-Christmas.
And then one post-Christmas on the other eye. So
yes.
not two surgeries on the same eye. That you're having.
Two surgeries on two separate eyes, yeah.
from your own point of view, is one worse than the other?
Yes. Yeah.
So you're having the worst one done first?
The worst one's done first, yeah.
Right. What have they said regarding the prognosis of that? Are they giving you a high percentage rate of...
The thing with eyes, it's just like everyone's different with everything, aren't they? But I think it's more just kind of see how we get on. So I don't know. At this time, I don't really know. I've actually got my... what day is it today? Thursday today.
Right.
Pre-op is tomorrow. So I'll know more then.
And right now, Aspinall is keeping his focus entirely on recovery, putting fighting on the back burner. He admits thoughts about returning to the cage aren't front of mind. The priority is regaining full health and getting his vision back to where it should be. One step at a time is the approach, even though the ultimate goal remains the same, getting back in the gym and eventually back to competing at the highest level.
Okay. Regarding the injury and what has happened, has there ever been, in this period of time, a concern for you that, obviously from a health point of view of getting your vision back to full health, but has there been thoughts of whether you'd be able to fight again?
I'm just thinking about my health at the minute, to be honest. I'm not even thinking about any of that stuff, because you got to like take one step at a time, don't you?
Yeah.
You can't be doing that. Obviously, the plan is to go back and beat the living daylights out of Rogan. That's the plan. But right now, the short-term plan is to get back to where I should be, get back.
For now, his focus is clear. Recovery comes first. Aspinall isn't thinking about the cage just yet. The immediate goal is getting fully back to form and returning to the gym. The bigger picture, of course, is there too. Once he's ready, he plans to face Cyril Gain again and settle the score.
Has there been thoughts of whether you'd be able to fight again?
I'm just thinking about my health at the minute, to be honest. I'm not even thinking about any of that stuff, because you got to like take one step at a time, don't you?
Yeah.
You can't be doing that. Obviously, the plan is to go back and beat the living daylights out of Rogan. That's the plan. But right now, the short-term plan is to get back to where I should be, get back in the gym.
He's been brutally honest about how tough this period has been. It's not just the fights he misses, it's the daily grind he loves. Getting in the gym, hitting pads, squatting, and sharing the camaraderie with teammates. That routine is what makes him feel like a martial artist, and being sidelined from it has been frustrating. He has managed to stay active with some weight training and keeping fit, but the MMA specific work he thrives on is still on pause. He admits this period has been one of the toughest of his UFC journey, even more mentally challenging than previous setbacks like his knee injury or fight delays. The uncertainty has been exhausting, but he's also used the time to learn a lot about himself, his relationships, and his connection to fighting. 10 weeks in, he says he's in a much better mental space, seeing the adversity as a harsh but valuable teacher, not just for his career, but for life in general. When asked if he thinks what Cyril did was intentional, he stays firm. He's never done anything accidentally in a fight, so he leans toward believing those actions in the octagon are deliberate. Beyond that, he emphasizes that something has to change in how fouls are handled, not just for eye pokes, but all illegal moves. He supports a system where a first foul can be treated as an accident, but repeated offenses should carry stricter consequences, giving the injured fighter some measure of fairness while keeping the rules clear and consistent. On the other side, Dana White responded to Tom Aspinall's frustration over his disregard about the eye injury, aiming to clear the air. He admits he doesn't recall his exact words, stresses he's not a doctor, and insists he wasn't speaking negatively, just sharing what he'd heard. His message is straightforward, no slight was intended, and the focus should remain on Aspinall's recovery and return. And then Michael Bisping weighed in with a sobering perspective, drawing on his own experience with multiple eye surgeries. He notes that while Tom's upcoming procedure may be relatively minor, likely a tendon realignment, but there's always risk. Eyes, like any part of the body, can be permanently affected once they're operated on. Complications like weakened vision or other issues are possible, even with modern medical advances, meaning recovery is never guaranteed and the outcome can change everything. Bisping is fired up about Tom's return, but emphasizes emphasizes patience above all. Rushing back after an eye injury can be career-changing, something he learned firsthand, so if surgery is needed, Tom could be out for months. With that in mind, Bisping predicts the UFC may announce another interim title fight soon. Given the circumstances, Tom just got promoted from interim to undisputed champ after John Jones walked away and then suffered the eye poke in his first defense. Bisping thinks the likely matchup could be Cyril Gane versus Alex Pereira, keeping the heavyweight picture moving while Tom recovers. Chael Sonnen picks up where the story gets even more intense. While the Aspinall versus Gane fight wasn't a big draw at first, thanks to odd timing and a fairly underwhelming card, everything has shifted now, according to him. Aspinall is clearly fired up, and the eye injury has only added fuel to the fire. Sonnen points out that Tom has put the blame squarely on Gane, setting the stage for a high-stakes rematch for the undisputed title. Meanwhile, the heavyweight scene is still buzzing with the John Jones versus Alex Pereira saga, proving the division is far from settled. Moreover, Luke Thomas offered his take on Tom Aspinall's situation, noting it's a tricky spot for any fighter. Vision issues are common in careers like his, whether from eye pokes or cumulative trauma, and he points out that other fighters like Jim Miller have experienced similar long-term effects. Thomas sees no problem with Aspinall keeping fans updated or defending himself against online criticism, but he questions the strategy of doing multiple updates across different platforms, suggesting it may just prolong the conversation instead of putting it to rest. He adds that while Aspinall is fully entitled to share his experience and the details may all be accurate, but there's still a question of communication strategy. Doing multiple updates across platforms gives the impression that more is better, which may not always be the smartest approach. According to Thomas, even with the best intentions, there's a risk that the message gets diluted or keeps the controversy alive longer than necessary. So what's your take? Do you think Tom will make it back to the octagon? And do you agree that Cyril deserves the blame for what happened? Share your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button.